Hi guys, and welcome to another tank review, and it's not a Brit tank. Yeah, it's Chinese. What's this thing? 5916. If you look at my garage, you can see, yeah, I'm a Brit, and I love the Brit tanks. I think they're great. I think a lot of them are underestimated, and as you can see, I've actually, in fact, just got my second Brit not so long ago. Got my second Brit tier 10. The FE215B, and as soon as we've got some money, you can see I haven't got any money at the moment, as soon as I've got some money I will get the 183 as well, so that leaves just the RT, but I'm a bit way off that because I'm working on the 5.5 inch Crusader. Still haven't decided whether to use this gun or the little gun. I'll swap between them at will, but anyway, on to the subject of this video. This thing, the 5916. Now I'll just unlocked the tier 9 heavy, Chinese heavy. I've completed the 110, and I don't know what made me go onto the light line. I've done some of the French lights. I love the ALC AMX. It's just a crazy little skateboard of a tank. 12T was a bit meh. It just didn't have the manoeuvrability, and you know, it's the same tier as this thing. This thing, it's just a completely different kettle of fish. I love this tank. Hated the 12T, and if I remember rightly, they are the same tier, aren't they? Before I make a complete fool of himself. That's tier 6, and the 12T is 6. Yeah, I thought it was. It's the 1375 that's 7. Right. Okay. So yeah, the 12T. It's just, I just couldn't get on with it. Didn't feel very manoeuvrable, and the traverse speed is way lower than this 36v54, and I think that was the main thing. You know, it's got the same top speed, the specific power is about the same, is it? Can't see the specific power on there. Let's have a look at it in the tech tree. Let's have a look, where are we? Oh no, specific power on the 5916 is way higher than 12T as well, which just makes it a hell of a lot more nimble tank. Same top speed. Couldn't run it with governors, but I'm going to take that off because it doesn't seem to make any difference. I'll put the first aid kit back on while I'm thinking about it. So, 5916. Where to start? Well, it's got no armour, it's a light tank. And think of it as a light tank. It's very stealthy, it's got decent camo values. And it's got a weird selection of guns. You've got 57mm, effectively roughly equivalent to a British 6-pounder, a little bit more pen than 6-pounder, all of 2mm, although, and about the same for the premium. I can hear my flatmate, which means you can probably hear it, so let me just shut the door. It shouldn't have opened. There we go, hopefully you can't hear it now. Then you've got a 76mm, which is a massive downgrade. And then you've got an autoloader, and this autoloader is interesting. Let's go compare the gun, the stock gun, and the autoloader. The stock gun obviously can't really compare the rate of fire because one's an autoloader. Average pen 112. Is way more than the pen of the autoloader. The damage is a lot less because you're talking 76v or 57. You got a 0.34 dispersion, 0.36, so the accuracy is close, and it's pretty decent. Same aiming time. It's a lot heavier on the autoloader. What you get on the autoloader, though, that you haven't got on the 57 is the fact it's an autoloader. So you get 5 shells in the container, 1.33 to reload the autoloader, and 10 seconds, usually obviously slightly under 10 seconds, to reload the drum. And it's the autoload. You do end up running that weak gun, and as you can see, I'll run it exclusively with premium. It's the pen's crap, and even though you're flanking and hitting stuff at the back, it's just easy just to load APCR. I use this a lot in stronghold games, tier 6 stronghold games. My clan, well, I say my clan, the clan I'm in, I don't run the clan, our clan leader's a way better player than me, and you know, I'm nowhere near good enough to be a clan leader, but the clan I'm part of isn't that we all like blitzing around in quick manoeuvrable tanks rather than heavies. We've done the 7v7 games, taking 7 Cromwells in and just obliterated the enemy with them. So we like doing different things. So the 5916 actually works quite well in that. I do run it with premium, obviously, and I tend to operate as the pure scout. We also have a lot of Type 64s in there, which obviously can also scout, but they might be configured slightly to try and improve DPM and stuff like that. So yeah, pure scout, coated optics, and I've got the auto remove thing on for the binos and the camo net, and that's basically how you play this thing. You might passive scout early on or half court, depending on the actual the map makeup of the team, this kind of thing. And then as it develops, you just go into flank. As soon as you see a break, you've got the speed to go straight through. You can take out RT, and you can actually dish out quite a lot of damage because you've got the manoeuvrability to actually flank and circle and get round stuff. You know, TDs, as long as as long as you use your brain, they're not an issue. I mean, there was a game that I played, I'm not sure if it's going to come up in the review, but the enemy just left the centre open. I blitzed through the centre, came round, took out the RT, count behind a Ferdinand, it was dead. And these aren't bad on the move. They're not as good as the 132, or was it one? It was either 131 or a 132. Actually, one shot at me later in the game, so I was already damaged on the move. But they're not bad on the move, and they're just really fun tanks. I would say that this and the Cromwell are two of the most fun tanks in tier 6. Fast, manoeuvrable, nimble. And the tracks on this thing seem to be quite tough. I'd say the tracks on this, I wouldn't be surprised if the tracks on this are actually stronger than the Cromwell tracks. I've taken some hits and I'm thinking, I've got tracks still on this thing. You will get tracked, but I'll find that it's not quite as susceptible to damage over jumps as the Cromwell, which is quite nice. Cromwell's got a way better gun, of course, although it's obviously a single shot. It's not an auto loader, but I think they're just two great tanks. They're really, really fun to drive, and as you see in the gameplay, this is a quite flexible tank, and I think that's what I enjoy about it. I sort of seem to have two styles of tank that I like. I like the AT line. The AT line gets a lot of derision. When you know how to use it, that can be quite fun. The AT-15A is a fantastic tank. I keep having good games in it, and I'll see people criticising on the forums, and I just don't get it. Or I like tanks that are quick, but they need to be able to manoeuvre. I love the British mediums, all the way up the Centurion, which okay is only 40 kph, but it's manoeuvrable. It'll relocate the FV2 4202. I'm nowhere near an expert on it, but again, you could just blitz around, taking flanks, changing direction, just really manoeuvrable. All the slow stuff, the AT-15, I love the Matilda, absolutely adore the Matilda. The Excelsior, it's quite tough, reasonably manoeuvrable. You know, the Brit tanks just seem to suit me. I struggle sometimes because I'm not a great player, but I just can't find those kind of tanks regularly in the other nations' tanks until I came across this beauty. The 132 feels like a tier 7 Crusader, so I'm quite enjoying that as well. Of course, none of these got gun depression of any note, so that is a disadvantage compared to a lot of the Brit tanks. But with a 59-16, you don't tend to notice, you shouldn't be doing peekaboo. You know, you're going to be using the terrain to get round stuff and then just coming in at point blank range and just circling them, just keeping out their gunfire. You're not trying to take hits on the turret because you've got no armour on the turret. You know, 45 front armour, it's not worth thinking about. So lack of depression doesn't actually matter because you want to be behind the thing until you're ready to engage. When you engage, you're just going to expose yourself anyway because you know that nothing's going to protect you, so why worry about it? So anyway, that's basically why I like this tank. I play it a bit like a Crusader, and it's just a lot of fun. So let's see some gameplay, and hopefully you'll agree with me, and also, and maybe even, you know, oh, I'll try that and go down this line. I think it's brilliant, really do. Anyway, on to some gameplay. Okay, here we are on the first game. Now this game, it's not brilliant, but I've included it for a couple of reasons, not least of which is it's effectively a live stream game. I did the in-garage review and then just took the tank out, and this is not an atypical type of game that you can do in this. Now I messed up the start, so I have to change tactics. My initial plan was to go up to the hill. I've got a decently fast tank and the tier 6 scout with a auto loader in a tier 7 game. See what I could do on the hill. You know, I'll be probably up against T49s, T34s, maybe the A43, potentially the E25, those kind of tanks. So, you know, or even the Chaffee. It wouldn't have been a bad plan. But as I approached the hill, I realised that most of those tanks beat me up there because I managed to wreck the suspension at the beginning, which kind of shows that you can still wreck the suspension in here. It's not indestructible. We nailed on their T49s early, so I think sod this for a game of soldiers, and I decided to back up our push on the other flank. What I want to do is keep moving. That's my plan. I'm not going to hang around. I'm not going to camp anywhere. I'm going to play quite aggressively, and my first target, E25. They've got a Jag Panther or Panzer on the left. Yeah, so is that flat Panzer over there? Yeah, flat Panzer off to the left. At the moment we haven't spotted anything else in there, but I'm just going to keep moving and try and use movement as my saving grace. I put one shell into the E25, spot this Type 58, scoot into cover to reload. It's a very quick reload on this gun. It's 10 seconds. It's really quite nice like that. Get 2 shots, get spotted, put 2 shells into the Type 58, try and get a third. The T58 puts one into me and gets a lucky crit, then puts one into me as I'm scooted past this Tiger 1, and this Tiger 1 and me just rip this Type 58 apart. He rams me without looking where it's going. I think I know he did that deliberately, although I don't blame him. But he's spotted the Tiger and sees the Tiger as the bigger threat. I was a little lucky there, but had he not been looking at me and I got the tracks up and got the hell out of dodge, and got back around behind the Tiger, so I don't think the result would have been any different if he'd driven it a bit better. Go for the Cheeto. He spotted me, but I trade 2 shots, 152 health, and back up. Now there's that IS-2 that I spotted, and I think, right, what do I do from here? I'm reloading. I know what I'll do is I'll go for arty. There's a shot that goes across my front there, which I don't think was ever on. Another one goes just behind me, but I'm diving into cover, which is entirely the plan. I'm deliberately using terrain there, and that's what you can do in this tank. It's so low, you can use terrain like you wouldn't believe. So I'm basically going after the arty. There's a couple of heavies on the left who really should be concentrating on me, but they're not. So I'm taking full advantage of that. Scoot round and make an absolute hash. As I say, this wasn't a brilliant game overall, but it does show what you can do in this game. I basically here waste about 4 shots. Now you'll notice I'm firing premium ammo exclusively. You just may as well in this gun. I don't in the Comet, or in the Excelsior. I'm not someone who shoots, and you see I'm wasted shot here as well, but so I'm just keeping moving, and our Hummel counter batteries in. I got full spotting experience for it there. but I'm just trying to move all the time. 1100 damage done already, you know, and I'm now going to go after the IS-2 that took 2 earlier pot shots at me, and this is where actually I misjudged what the IS-2 is going to be doing. The tanks on the hill have now decided I am worth shooting at and completely missed me because I'm so low and I'm moving so quickly. But this IS-2 plants an absolute awesome shot on me and finishes me off, and that was the end of the game for me. I expected what I was planning on, and in fact I was expecting him to be going for the 3001p, and therefore I was going to try and plant a couple of shots into his engine deck. No way I'd have ever took, you know, if I'd realised he was facing that way, I'd have still probably gone for him, but I'd have gone back round the route I'd done initially and tried to get some shots into his side. But yeah, this is one tank that I now use exclusively premium ammunition. It's just not, it's just awful with the standard ammunition, because especially the way I drive it, where you're moving around a lot, you're going for flanking and rear shots, but they're often angled, and there you could often get close to 100mm resistance on some tanks. That SU-122 was just crazy, but you know, SU-100 actually nailed him. I don't know where I was. Where's our SU-100? Oh, up on the hill. He nailed him from up on the hill. I wonder where that shot came in. So I just load premium. It saves me messing about in clan games, because I use that tank in clan games. But it's just the Comet, I use standard ammo as much as I can. Excelsior, standard ammo as much as I can. But in the the 5916, I use premium all the time. Anyway, that's the first game. We'll go to the post game stats now before moving on to the next game. So here we go, results of that game. As I said at the beginning of this game, I literally ran this game straight after doing the review. I haven't played any other tanks. This is straight after, which is why I've included it, because I've just gone straight out into a game. I ballsed up the start of it and still came out with a first class mastery and a decent result. Let's see, 2.9k XP, that is with the ×2 and a premium count, 38,000 credits, but 1.5k spotting damage, always good to see that sort of amount, and 1.1k damage myself. Took 3 kills, the A25, then the RT. Didn't get a shot on didn't get a kill on the S25, but because I spotted him, got got the damage credit for it. The Chi-2, which killed, and the Type 58, which I had good support from that Tiger with. If we let's look at the game, top on XP, 971, almost 1000 XP, which isn't bad. That's what you need for a first class mastery in this tank. 3 kills, 1100 damage, 21 shots fired, a lot on the move without aiming, a lot of auto aims, and I do that a lot. I do that a fair bit anyway, but especially in tanks like this where I'm on the move, I just haven't got the coordination to aim whilst I'm moving fast, so I'll use auto aim in those kind of situations a lot. I do know how to aim for weak spots, and when I'm in a situation I will, but I mean, when I put those last 2 shots into the Type 58, I could have aimed those, but the auto aim was aiming straight at the back of the engine deck, so there was no point. 14 hits, 11 pens. So as you can see, still, you know, when you're shooting at the right parts of tanks, I shot at the back of the 58, I shot at the A25, which is paper, the Chi-2 was paper. Most of the tanks I shot at were paper, but I still got pens most of the time. Got bounced off the front of the 58, which you'd expect. 1100 damage, all fairly close range stuff. I received 4 hits with 3 pens. Completely miscalculated what the IS-2 was going to be doing. I knew it there, and it was actually a good play by the IS-2. He probably knew where that medium was, and he had been almost certainly duking with that medium. He'd missed me as I made my run through to take out their arty. And fair play to him. 3 spotted, 4 damaged, 3 destroyed. Sorry, yeah, 4 damaged and 3 destroyed. 1700 damage to us due to assistant, 2.5k travelled, and you could see the manoeuvrability. I made that run across the back of the map, knowing I'd get shot at, but knowing that the chance of him actually hitting me with the IS's gun was fairly remote. It was worth the risk, because if you get through into cover, I knew there were support tanks. That Tiger, where is that Tiger? I'm surprised that Tiger, scored so poorly, because he actually played quite well. He backed me up very, very well in taking out that Type 58. That was very good play. Good bit of play by those SUs at the end. Good lot of damage by that one SU. Hummel did well. It was a fairly good all-round performance on my team. On the other side, that IS2 played really well. As I say, he can pull. I didn't make the best approach. I should have approached more off laterally, so moved away. But I wanted to get into cover away from the 2 heavies on the ridge, and wanted to keep close to the edge initially before breaking out. But 5 kills. He played very well. Good, reasonable support from these 2, and the rest of his team really let him down. The Artie will. I like getting rid of Artie because it gets rid of a major threat on a team, but they didn't do great up to the point that I got them or helped to get them. That flat Panzer did nothing. The E25 didn't do too badly, the one that I took out. So overall, not too bad. 45% chance to win. Right, here we are on Serene Coast. This is going to be an interesting game. I'm not going to give anything away. This was recorded. Well, it shows how long this video's taken. It's taken me 2 weeks, because this video was recorded on the 13th of August. So it's taken me well over 2 weeks to actually. This replay was played on the 13th of August, so it's taken me better part of over 2 weeks to actually put this video together. Don't worry, I'll get better. But it's an interesting game. We're a tier 9 game in a tier 6 scout. I've sort of gone quite aggressively up the middle. We're on Serene Coast, obviously. Spotted the couple of tanks that came in. And basically, I'm doing a sort of half court, see what I can find, and just trying to give my team an idea of what's around, where it is, what the enemy's actually doing. There's 232 that way, whilst not actually staying stationary. Come down and spot the 416, the 232. Some of this is obviously being spotted by the people. It's a lot of this I'm not actually spotting much at this stage. Coming up to see whether I can get a shot with the 416. Nope. He's behind that crest line, so I'll back off. Decide to relocate again. You'll see in this match I do a lot of moving around. It's insane how much moving around on this. Back past that 232, which I think I'm going easy. Coming back up. Yes, and I'm going to engage this 2101. Whoops, HE. Always nice to see HE. It means their reload's probably quite slow. So I can probably afford to wait for the tracks to come up rather than repair them. And I thought there was a Panther around there. There's not. I'm thinking of a different game. Same map, different game. There he is. There's Jack Panther. I knew there was Jack Panther around there somewhere. Puts a hell of a wallop into me. Now, what's interesting in this is I'm playing very aggressively. The Jack Panther's put one into me and then found himself with a Lova and a 1390 to engage, and gets absolutely walloped by the 1390. There's a clue here. So I've disposed of the 2801. 1390 is coming up behind me, and we're just going to get to work. I've broken through, so it's arty hunting time. The 1390 is looking at the 152. I want arty. If I can get through like this, I will always seek out the arty. Gets rid of them. I can almost certainly pen them. So it's helping my team. I'm doing damage. It's win-win. 3805 tries to ram me. Fails. Reload takes me out. It almost gets me. And then I spot that the back chat's over the other side. He's picked up by the 1390, who's ditzing around with the 152. So we've disposed of one of their arties. We've killed off one of their scouts. Now it's time to dispense some scout justice on a tank destroyer. He misses it. Didn't really have a chance of getting a shot into that. Now, tanks like this, the fact that my alpha isn't enough to dispose of him in one clip doesn't really matter. He's isolated, and he tries to ram me, which is about the only thing he can do, because there's absolutely no chance of getting behind me. And I'm just racking up the damage. I'm not sure where the 1390's hair helped me. In fact, the 1390 gets the kill. I'm reloading, so I don't get a chance to put any shells into the 15551. But there you go. I've done 2k damage in a scout in a tier 9 game. Helped get rid of a nasty tank destroyer, a potentially nasty bit of arty, and a scout. And getting rid of a scout is always a scout's job. I think that's basically all it wrote for me. Now, it doesn't look a lot on the face of it. 2k damage though isn't bad, is it? You know, I'm only a scout. I'm a tier 6 tank. Tier 6 tank with naff all armour in a tier 9 game, and I've just done 2k damage. And you'll see what that results in a moment when we just get to the end of the replay. 4501B is about to die. I was hoping I could get an extra shot into him, but I don't manage it. And you can just see how mobile this little thing is.
We didn't even scratch them.
I was hurriedly shooting to try and get a shot in him and didn't quite manage it. And that's the end of that replay. And that, believe it or not, was my mastery game. The two scouts in a tier 9 game do top XP, do well over 3.5k damage and 6 kills. Didn't quite carry it, you know, the Tortoise and T32 and our arty obviously contributed quite well, but I took top damage in a tier 9 game, and that's how you get mastery in this thing. Okay, so here we are in the last game. I've actually been playing this tank a huge amount in order to try and get you a game where the contribution was, you know, significantly scouty, shall we say, not just 2 damage. I'm amazed how this tank just contributes in terms of damage to matches and does so consistently. So I decided to pop up onto this ridge. We've got it's a tier 9 game. There's 4 tier 9s in each side. We've got a tier 9 arty, they've got a TD instead. We've got 2 mediums and a heavy, I think. Yeah, and they've got 2 heavies and a medium. So slightly strange matchup. They've also got 3 arty versus our 2, but their arty's much lower tier. Okay, so there we go. Just change so you can actually see what tanks we've got. The T71 got spotted now, almost certainly got spotted by the 12T. And literally, I'm just sitting here now. If I get a chance to shoot that T71, I probably will at this stage. There we go. Let's just try and get out of fixed camera view. Then I spot this 1390, and I decided to have a few pops at him because, well, if I can dislodge him is my intent. Get spotted, empty the clip, got to reload, quick back off. I'm not going to pop out for very long, stay out just long enough to drop off and pop back in. Their T21's in the forest, in the woods, about to engage our 132. The 12T's effectively trying to do a active scout role, but there just doesn't seem to be anything on that flank at the moment. I'm sitting here, I'm basically waiting to see if anything comes up that ridge between me. If you look on the map, I can see almost over to the little intersection that sort of cuts off the dry riverbed thing. So anything coming into that gap and coming towards me, maybe to try and get the 12T in its flanks, I can see. We haven't got many TDs in our side, in fact, got any at all. I get spotted again, but I did put a shot into the T71. And it's here that I decided, right, that 1390 is pissing me off. And there's nothing happening anyway. The 12T's got a similar idea, although I'm not sure he knows that the 1390's there. And I decided it's time to dislodge the 1390. I haven't really spotted a much that I'm aware of, although I think I'll probably, if you look at the results at the end, I'll spot stuff that I don't realise I spot. It's either at this just before I moved, or there you go. You can actually bounce stuff in this tank. Ricochet. If you look, there's a scar on the side of the turret, and it's not the first time I've bounced stuff in this. I bounced a KB1S at the same place. The side of that turret can actually bounce stuff. Obviously not reliably, but when you're scooting around, you can often get surprise bounces. I've also bounced a Tiger 2 off the front upper glasses, so it can be quite surprising. So I've got rid of the 1390. I think, right, okay, got rid of him. I'm now going to go back to my scout role and passively scout. The SP's gone. The it's 12T. Sorry, he's gone into their cap area but died. There's a T54E1 and a 120 over that side. But I'm picking up all these spots on this 1390, the MT25, the T54, the ISU 152. All these I can see from where I'm sitting, probably even the T28 prototype. So I suspect at that stage the T28 was actually below the view line of the of the 54E1. Can't remember what I was shooting at there. I was shooting the MT, I think, just trying to get him to move. I didn't get spotted, nothing anywhere close enough to spot me. I think about the T30, then spot the MT25 again. He's come out, see he's taken some damage. The gun at this range is not super accurate, especially as I'm not necessarily waiting for it to restrict. To get spotted, back out, self drop off and reload, relocate a little bit closer. And this, I think, there we go. So we've got T30, the T54 coming out, not to come up, and as soon as they come up, that T28 flashes up. And I suddenly realised I'm actually getting green ammo readings on this thing. And, you know, I take out the T28 prototype. So, for a, you know, a tier 6 tank in a tier 9 game, I've just disposed of one of their, you know, non-significant heavy. I've got rid of one of their scouts. I've damaged 3 of their scouts. And now it's time to go after their RT. Takes me an entire clip, but I manage it. Get spotted in the process. Not really worried about getting spotted. You know, the sort of the passive scouting this time is over. It's see what damage you can do. And that's all she wrote. And on to the results. Okay, so there you go. Now, this game came out. I was a bit surprised with this game. I didn't expect to get the spotting XP. I did. But I think that really shows what basically this game, as I said at the start of the replay, was when I wanted to show just how well, when it's set up as a scout, which this is, I've got the enhanced optics, I've got binoculars, I've got camo net, how well this tank can see stuff and therefore assist the team through spotting. I've shown how you can just do damage with it quite effectively and be an effective aid in that respect, despite a gun that ostensibly is underperforming. I say underperforming, not very high performing. But here we can actually see that it spots well, still doing damage because, sorry, I can't help it. But 2000 spotting XP, not shabby, or spotting damage, should I say, is not shabby. Interestingly, you'll note that only two of those tanks that I got spotting XP for, I actually did the initial spots, and I think what was happening there was one of our other scouts, the one that dived in, sort of pretty much suicided into their cap circle, did the spots, and because I'd relocated up onto that ridge, I then held that spot once he died, so they didn't drop off. And then as the Allied tanks came in, they were doing damage on the back of me holding those spots open, so they could see the targets. And even not once they're in the view range, I got the XP because I'd held the spot open for them. They saw them all the way in. I think that's how that worked. Again, I showed that this thing can do damage. In fact, in this game, I was using standard AP because I'm trying to save up to get my FV207. So I'm trying not to burn credits by using APCR on this. So you can use it. I even got that shot, that killing shot onto the T28 prototype. And at that range, that was quite, I was quite impressed with that shot. The RT was straightforward. And the same with the MT25. I mean, he got tracked. Was it me who tracked him? Let me have a look. No, I see his fuel tank. Someone else tracked him for me, and I've polished him off. But you could see in that game how, I knew that 1390 was there. Really dislodged him, dodged the T30 shot, got out of dodge. And because I'd cleared the 1390, I was then able to take his place. If we look at the team score, 880 base XP, it's not bad. Best to best for my team. That top 59 did reasonably well. Our GW Tiger did very, very well. That WZ 120 did pretty well as well. 2,500 damage. That's pretty good. Pretty good going, especially when you think these ISs didn't do much. The WZ only did 1.5k before dying. He's very much the mediums, and very much the mediums, and that, Type 59 is a medium, isn't it? So it's very much the mediums that are actually doing the work, because our heavies just weren't performing particularly well. Our other scouts down here didn't do much. If you look at the thing, I took 2 hits, 1 pen, 1 non-pen, 240 damage. That's fine, could deal with that. Most of my damage was from over 300 metres, because I was trying to shoot at stuff that was, when I wasn't being spotted. That 1390 kept lighting me up early in the game, I think. 26 hits fired. It's not the world's most accurate gun, so only 11 hit, but 9 went through. Can't complain. And there's your 2,000, and a decent profit, 32k, 32.5k. So anyway, that's the last game. And as you can see, it's a very flexible tank. It manoeuvres around the battlefield very quickly. It's small enough that you could dodge shots, as you saw with that T30. And I just love it. It's so similar to the Crusader in the Prey style, and the WZ-131 that I'm also doing is, again, the same kind of thing. It's a light tank in name, but in many ways it's a medium. The gun on this isn't ideal for medium stuff, but it's so manoeuvrable, you can just get behind stuff. I think the only criticism I'd say about this tank, and it can get frustrating, is that it's one clip burst is a little limiting. Things like 1375s, I'm hoping I'm getting the right tier there. Or is it 12Ts? I can't remember. No, it's 12Ts, isn't it? It can be a bit dodgy, one clipping them, because you've only got 600 or so from a clip. So, ironically, it's almost better against heavies and stuff like that if you can get into their flanks and back and just keep away from their turret. It works. It can struggle a bit in the sort of anti-scout role, because it's facing a lot of 1390s, 1375s, T71s, and even when it's facing non-auto loading ones, it tends to struggle because it's not one clipping them, so it's then got a 10-second reload. Of course, the reload's really quick, so it's brilliant for circling stuff. But anyway, that's my 5916, if you can remember what tank I'm doing, review. Hope you enjoyed it, and speak to you soon.